All right, welcome to episode 18 of the War Room. I will be a lone soldier tonight, so we'll try to take you through the best we can. We got a lot to talk about. Metal Mayhem happened last weekend. We've got some really interesting stories with that. We'll dive into that. I know you guys want to get into the nitty gritty, and there was definitely some entertainment, and definitely I think we got to give some hats off and some congratulations to a lot of guys out there, including Don Santel, who joins the updated list. Let's see here if I can get this right. We have a updated list of our 10,000 plus winners. We'll check that out right there. So Don joins Bob Whitaker at the top of the 10K plus individual wins. Remember, they're individual wins. So quite a statement. Also, with that 9, Don and Bob both go to 4 each of Metal Mayhem wins. We talked last week about how Metal Mayhem's been around for 22 years, I think it was 22, 23 years. And each one of these guys has now won it 4 times. So pretty impressive. And that'll bring us to the conversation of, do we got to have a GOAT conversation? Who is your GOAT? You guys can feel free to comment. Who is the GOAT? Does this list certify that these two are at the top alone? Or is it somebody else on this list? How do you guys measure who the GOAT actually is? So just comment on that and we'll keep going and we'll get into some of your comments. I do want to bring this up though, and this is kind of a inside deal here. So let's see here. Where's this at? This is gonna be funny, and it's not PG-13. So if you got if you if you got kids watching, don't turn them away. All right. I'm trying to get it to pull up. Oh, we'll have to just pull it up in this way. All right. If you know who that guy is, this is a funny thing. I think it pulled up. Did it pull up? Did you guys see that? Anyways, there was a meme that we put out that was kind of funny, and and at the Redneck Rumble, which we had Adam Eaton, if you know, you know, and Don Santel took care of business last weekend, and let him know that he got the best of him that time. So it was pretty interesting to see in person. I did watch it live, and then also on Derby Nation, and you couldn't really tell what happened on Derby Nation. So if you guys did not see what happened, there was a battle as derbies happen. There's always battles between different groups. This time, Santel's group with Jody and Trevor and those guys got the best of Eaton's, and as a fan, this is like the most exciting part, right? As a driver, it's like the most nerve-wracking part and the craziest part. But it's something we have to talk about because it happened, right? And Don proceeded to do some donuts and do a little showboating in the after Adam was out, and went on to win the event. So if that is not the ultimate stamp of approval that hey, it was my night or it was my weekend, I'm not sure what is. So hats off to Don because that was extremely impressive. Unbelievably impressive. I know it didn't get captured on DerbyNation.tv, but anyone that was there saw it, and it was crazy. So let me get back to all the other stuff here. There we go. So, Metal Mayhem review. Yeah, Tyson comments on here. From an entertainment standpoint, look, I know it's kind of uneasy to be in those circumstances, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Don, but I did talk to Eaton's. Um, it's kind of crazy to be in something like that, but as far as entertainment value, through the absolute roof. I haven't seen anyone post or comment on it either, and I'm just like, man, how is no one saying anything about that? That was absolutely insane. But let's get into the show. So, Metal Mayhem review. Just if you weren't able to see Metal Mayhem, I'll kind of go through a couple things that I saw from the weekend that were really good. As you know, if you've been at our show a couple years ago, we had some bad walls. Okay, that was I definitely take ownership of that. We had a lot of people going over the walls. We thought we had them packed good, and we didn't. I'm gonna tell you right now, at Metal Mayhem, whoever packed those walls is like an A plus. It was the best walls, best dirt packing behind the walls that I've ever seen. It can be easily overlooked, and as I know from 2 years ago, you'll overlook it once, you'll never overlook it again, and you'll appreciate a good track from there on out. And I tell you what, it was a phenomenal track. The food was great. The vendors were awesome. There was a ton of vendors there. I know maybe the vendors didn't have the weekend that they wanted as far as just people buying stuff, but there was a ton of options there for people that were. It's always good to see those relationships. The heats were good. We got to see some icons go at it. I know Chad Markley had a tough heat. I know Bubba Eaton had a tough heat. Santel and Whitaker were in the heat battling it down. I mean, just that 5 minutes. Who you couldn't predict the future that they would get it on at the end of the Derby either. Um, but you got to see a glimpse of that. You got to see a glimpse of icons in the heat get it on, and Whitaker was on it, man. Santel almost had him up in the corner, and he gets out. Man, was that entertaining! I could watch that type of stuff all day long, and you got to see some of that, which was really cool. I talked about Santel in the picture story. There's a rivalry. It's a rivalry. That's what it is. It's a rivalry. Okay, and we should all just sit back and enjoy that rivalry. Um, there's always a lot of rivalries, but anytime you have two pretty big names in the sport get it on like that, and I don't think there's a ton of bad blood. I think both sides are good. It's just competition. It is really fun to see on this side of it. So I know I'm smiling and laughing. It is. It's really fun. It's maybe not as fun to be in that, but man, is it fun to see. So the ending was epic, epic ending. Look, you had some guys in the top five that drove 3 hours to get to the top five, and they ended it how they wanted to end it. Look, to each their own on the feature. I know some people are going to say, "Hey, 3 hour features and this and that," and I could sit here and just beat a 3 hour feature to death too. I do think that a lot of sports provide different uh, I don't know, events or let's just take NASCAR for example, or dirt tracks. You got your bigger dirt tracks, smaller dirt tracks. You got Talladegas, you got Bristols, that type of stuff. So I think what you see when you go out to Metal Mayhem is you're seeing a different aspect of Demolition Derby, and you know that feature is going to be long. I can tell you that there wasn't a lot of fans that were leaving throughout the feature. There were definitely spits of entertainment and battles that happened, and then there was some alliances that had to work itself out. And that takes time. No one wants to take a bad shot and get on or piss somebody off. Basically, is what it is. So it happens. To each their own. It's a 3 hour feature. We could go into how you prevent that stuff, but in reality, I don't think it's a totally bad thing for the sport. I think people know what they're getting when they go out there. Um, I also want to point out that a lot of people say that like Bob Whitaker and Santel and these guys that are out there always get the easy route, right? They always get to run with people. I'm going to tell you right now, every single one of those guys in the top 5, there were times throughout that feature. I'm not even talking about the heat. I'm talking about the feature that guys took shots. Bob literally survived a shot, a straight nose to nose. A guy was trying to junk him with like, man, it was probably halfway through the feature. So it's probably like a half hour and a half in. And he takes a kamikaze shot. He takes the guy out. And that stuff's really neat to see. And that just shows you the driving skill and ability. Now he didn't get his radiator. All right. So that probably changed Bob's mentality. But it was really good. Really good driving. And I don't think some of that gets appreciated as much. You know, Santel and that whole group, they got into their battles too, throughout that feature. So you got, when you go back and watch that, they didn't have free rides. Okay, it was 3 hours, and it wasn't just 3 hours and them never getting in a war. They had to win their wars, you know, and it was unfortunate, you know, at the end, that maybe Bob took a little more of that punishment, than Don did. But that's how it ends. That's how it goes. You know, I mean, I know Wiley was trying to take them both out, and he had a shot, and he had to go, and pretty impressive performances by those guys too, in that top 5. So, look, as with any show, I'm sure there's people that are gonna, you know, can say things up and down. This is what I'll say about that. I wasn't in inspection. I wasn't on the track. I wasn't making the calls. I wasn't, you know, in the headsets or none of that. So, those people can talk about that somewhere else. We don't. I don't like to bring things up on here that you can't prove, right? So I don't want to like throw shots at anyone or anything like that. So if you heard anything else, I mean, it's your job to dig up the dirt and find out what exactly is the truth, and what is not. So that's kind of my review of Metal Mayhem, which was it was a good time. It was a good time. So you guys had a little time to think. Don going back into Metal Mayhem and winning and getting that ninth win, and the fourth being, I saw a picture with him and Bob throwing up the fours, which was pretty cool to get that fourth Metal Mayhem win. Does Bob and Don, are they at the top? Does that put Don over Bob? What are your guys' thoughts out there? I know I put up a post earlier today, that said people, the GOAT is measured on a bunch of different things. It's not just a list, and I agree with that. I agree. There's definitely other factors that go into it, especially in our sport, because it's not like it was a 10. It's not been a 10,000 plus heavy, um, organized sport to say. So I know that there's been other shows that have weighed pretty heavy, or county fairs that are really hard to win. So it is kind of hard to put all your marbles in one basket with the 10,000 to win. But I do think that is a parameter or a bar that is set. Excuse me, that is set in the demolition derby world, where, you know, these events are typically harder to win, and when you're winning 9 of these events, 5 of these events, 3 of these events, as you saw on that list, I mean, it's got to be pretty impressive. I'm going to get into, if you guys got some comments, feel free to hop in. If Yeah, I'm not talking about the Vans. I wasn't watching during the Vans, so I didn't get to see, and I didn't go back online. I did go back online, but you can't really see what happened. Like I said, I'm not in that. I'm not in those headsets. I don't know what really happened. We have enough like BS that happened, um, you know, in the Derby world that can't be proven. I'm not getting into that. So yeah, our king class winner last year, JT Hildebrand, his dad Jim Hildebrand. was a bad dude and very well respected back in the day, before all the $10,000 shows. So we get that. This is just a part of it, right? You got to start measuring everybody somehow, and maybe this can be the start of that. But I'm telling you, man, 9 wins is a lot more than 5, and which is a lot more than 3, and which is a lot more than 2, and is a lot more than 0. Okay, so um, it does mean something, I think, right? When you put together that list, and these guys are getting so far out there. So now, it also plays a factor in how many times people run, and the means and the ability to run. I get all that. I want to get into a couple of things on the King class. So our front wheel drive class is down to less than 10 entries. So we're less than 10 entries away from filling the front wheel drive team show. We've already filled the rear wheel drive team show, and our King class, as you guys have been asking, hey, what's it at? What's it at? I don't know why he's not saying nothing, whatever. I wanted to get to a comfortable number that I could put out there that say, hey, look, this thing's going to fill, because I truly thought it would fill. And we put out there yesterday that it is at 40. So we've got 40 entries filled in that class. And just a reminder, we're only taking 60. So with 60 entries, that means we have 20 left. That means it's paying 66% of the purse as of right now, which is, what is that? Somebody do some quick math. What is that? 33. So it's paying more than it did last year. And we get to that 60. It's just going to keep climbing every time. I know there's some people yet to sign up that are interested. I know nobody wants to be the 45th entry, but yet the facts are you got to have the 45th entry before the 60th. I want to fill that class because we've got something else in store for you guys, okay, that I think you're really, really going to like. I want to fill that class first before we put anything else out. And that way we can get that, start working on the hype for that. Um, we love opinions, and here here they are. Junkyard Dog says no one on the list is anywhere close to being the best. Well, until you can beat them, I don't know how you can measure that, but I'd like to know who you think the best is. 33,000. There's the math. 33,000 as of right now. So I know it's just going to keep going up. Look, it's going to fill. The impossible class is going to fill. That no one says that can fill. We do have 60 competitors out there, and it is really, really cool to see. And we've got two. Well, I said we hinted at one. We've got two real big surprises that I think everyone's going to like, and I want that class to fill first before we put that stuff out there. It seems like weekly that we are getting there's stuff online said, or you get into these little spats weekly, and I haven't been silent on those. And the reason why I haven't been silent on these spats, if you see them online, is because we've had like 30 or 40 years of just biting the bullet and being the bigger man, and not saying anything. And why can't we just call a spade a spade? It apparently in 30 years hasn't um, stopped people from just saying like just absolute crazy shit. So we get into spats. We always want to talk facts and proof. So I want to do a segment every week, a little fun segment, and we'll cut it up. And it just says it's a come on, man segment. So we may make some people famous when we do this. But these things got to be talked about. So I'm going to show you a little clip, and I want you guys to comment, tell us what you think. I'll give you a little context real quick. We had a driver. Okay, he's a truck driver. He ran our King of Ohio class, and every chance he gets, he says that we screwed him. Okay, and he says that we screwed him because we broke his stick. Okay, and we broke his stick, and he said it was unwarranted. All right. and I'm going to have you watch the video, and then we'll kind of discuss what you think. So right here, you're seeing a piece of tire fly off in the air. It's like a 1.5 foot piece, and it flies out of the screen so fast. Here's another. This is going to be another version of this. There's some other pieces flying out. You got the crowd up here pointing it out that this tire's fresh. Here it is again. Got the fans obviously cleaning this out. This flew over our. Look, you guys gotta watch closely. Back, that's the real time. Right there. Back, that's the side. There's a large piece of tire went flying off this truck. So here's I bring that up because this guy Calvin Unger is literally bashes us every single time he can online, and the problem with that is you can't put your fans in danger, in our opinion. When you have tires flying off of a truck at that pace, if this flies into the stands, let's just say those tires weigh 5 pounds, but it's traveling at 20 mile an hour. I mean, it is a absolute lawsuit waiting to happen. It means demolition derby changes forever. We had this happen out in Utah with the drive shaft. Now, obviously, a drive shaft weighs a lot more, and no one could have predicted what happened with that drive shaft. But this drive shaft literally flew like 200 feet. These tire pieces literally flew like 200 feet too. Okay. Um, so at that point, we made a decision to break him off, that he was deemed no longer safe to compete, and not safe for his well-being, but safe um, for our fans. Right now, the argument that I keep getting back and forth is that every fan signs a waiver and he doesn't give a damn if fans get hurt. Okay, and he does. And the next thing that should have been that I should do is not have any fans in the pits. Okay, and that's what it should be. Um, yeah, yeah, that's right, Jacob. I did, because I'm tired of hearing it. Okay, so I showed the video and everything. Now look, I leave it up to the public. You tell me. Okay, I can tell you that we are comfortable with the decision that we made. We don't think that it was a screw job by any means, but we also think that these things should be addressed. And if you put our crowd in danger, we got to do the best thing that's for the crowd and the safety of the driver. Sometimes I understand as competitors that you necessarily, you're there to win, but there are lines that we can't cross, right? And it's just how it goes. So there's catch fences and all that stuff in NASCAR for a reason, because of these things that have happened. Let's not speed that up and put that burden on demolition derby, um, prior to than what we need to. It probably will happen someday, but let's not speed that pace up by intentionally injuring our fans. So that's our segment. Come on, man. Like, this is you're killing me here. And if anyone disagrees, feel free to let me know why you disagree, or we should have made a different call. Andrew says it's the right call, safety first. Um, you know, I don't think it's right that this particular individual goes on and bashes us at every chance that he gets, and says that we're crooked and this and that, when we I don't think we simply did anything wrong, at all. I think we made the best decision that we can in the moment, and we put a clip together. We don't really hide from anything. So, and here you go. The right call would definitely hurt if you got hit. If you got hit, yeah, absolutely, it would hurt. See, that's not even what Calvin is willing. He doesn't even care about that. He just says the fans signed a waiver. It doesn't matter if they get hit. Calvin's on here, and he so this is good. Said my overall complaint, bitch, is the fact that I should have got second place. That was second place, and I should have been second. Calvin, that's the first time I've heard you say that argument. Online, you haven't said anything regarding that at all. That is the first time that I've heard you say that argument. And I think that may be a valid argument. I think that you actually have a valid argument, and I have no hesitancy to bring that up. But I will tell you, at that moment, when we deem you no longer able to compete, that truck is still on the clock and your stick is now broken. So that's why you get third and not second, because we can't have you still competing, trying to move out there. When your stick is broken, that's where you end the night. That other truck hadn't been counted out at that point. But look, that is the first time. I hate that we had to go all the way deep into this. That's to get to this, but that's the first time I've heard you say that, besides just saying we flat out screwed you. Calvin, you didn't want to talk. All you wanted to do was mother F this and mother F that. Okay. And you haven't talked since then. So don't act like, oh, I walked away from you. We're not getting in a shouting or fist fighting match. Okay. So I got no problem addressing this stuff. So anyways, thanks for getting on here and talking about it. It sounds like we've got to some cooler heads now. And I do understand your side of getting second, but we broke your stick before second was counted out. That is the first time that you've actually said anything like that, besides just blasting us on Facebook. And I think that was unwarranted, what you were saying. Then you also said something about the payouts, which is unwarranted. Anyone that runs from us or runs for us knows that we base our payouts based on entries. It's been going on 3 years strong. So when you made that comment too, that's a false statement. Okay, that's a false statement. Everyone knows what they're getting into with us. I just talked about our king class at 60 entries. It pays 50,000 to win. Right now it's at 33,000. Okay, so we've been telling everybody this for 3 years. It's how we run. It's how we run our show. I got to keep addressing this. Calvin, you were screaming at the top of your lungs. We're not doing that type of stuff there. You had no. I mean, do we got to record everything so I can go back and say, hey, look, I mean, how can I talk to a guy that's losing his mind? I mean, come on, man. If it was such an issue, the first time it happens, it's noted, right? The second time that it happened in big chunk is when we broke you off. And this type of stuff is hilarious. So you got guys commenting on here. Yeah, I heard this derby's a real shit show. Well, same thing. Let's come with some facts, man. What was wrong with the show? What was your complaint? Oh, you weren't at the event? Oh, you have no idea? Wow, surprise, surprise. Okay, it looks like we're done wrapping that up. So, David, if you got something, if you got some proof, what was wrong with the show, or if you even attended the show, let me know. And I'll go as far as looking names up of who signed in. If if you if you want. So, all right, we're moving on. We'll move back to Junkyard Dog. He said the best is the one that goes out there making slow, small hits, junk in their car in like 15, 20 minutes and never gets. Did I miss a comment that he said before? I know there were some guys going back on who the best was. Um, Imagine that he wasn't there. Imagine that. Surprise, surprise. Well, thanks for tuning in, though. You weren't at the show, but thanks for taking the time to tune in here. Slow place hits are not great for entertainment for sure. Unfortunately, that's where everyone was. That's the format starts that conversation. I think I might have missed what the intent of some of these comments were. There's too many coming. Yeah, David, thank you. I think we had a very good show too. Everyone that was there was pretty impressed. And Jeremy, thank you very much. Listen, we don't hide from anything. I know some people don't do this stuff, but we don't hide from anything. We'll talk about anything, and we're not hiding from anything. I know some of it can kind of be like, oh man, you shouldn't talk about that online, but if we don't talk about it, who's going to talk about it, right? I would rather just address things straight up than it be like hearsay, like what's his name? So Brent says, so payouts are by total entry or people that show up. It's total entries. And look, Brian's our King Class winner last year. I know he's one of the truck guys. We'd love to have him back too, but we don't want to. We don't want to have that type of controversy. We want everyone to be on the same page. It was a totally unfortunate circumstance that happens, but it does happen. Look, it affected him that time. It sucks, um, but it is unfortunate. David, you want to make your own assumptions now? Well, you should probably watch the Derby yourself before you just start saying things randomly, right? No, I mean that's just crazy. That there you go. That's why you got to call things out. Like, hey, I heard this Derby is terrible. Oh, by the way, I've never watched it, and can I watch it now to make my own assumptions? Nah, you just come on, man. There's a come on, man segment for you right there. Bobby ended up getting second at Metal Mayhem. Bobby almost won, so he almost became the fifth or the 5-time champ of Metal Mayhem, which was pretty impressive. Oh, Ben, you missed a ton. You have to go back. It was good. Last couple things. Okay, so for anyone tuning in and something that we don't that we do everything. Let me see if I can pull up our flyer quick. So on all of our flyers, you're going to see. I know I can pull it up. It'll just take me just a second. Let me see here. Screen share this window. There we go. All right. And that may be hard to see. Oh, there we go. We can zoom in. Okay. So on all of our flyers, we put, obviously, we offer big payouts, some of the biggest payouts in the entire country, which is really cool for you guys. We want to pay it forward as much as we can. With that, though, you got to have certain entertainment. And we base these payouts on 60 entries. It's always a very reasonable amount of entries, okay, to get based on these payouts. For example, our King class It's an $800 entry fee, and it's based on 60 entries. If for some reason we don't get the 60 entries and we get 50 entries, it'll pay 5/6 of this advertised purse. So 5/6 of that advertised purse is, let me do the math here real quick. That's 83%. So 50,000 times 83, oops, 0.83 is $41,500. So it is an astronomical, and that's all the way through. So it'll be, 83% of that. But that's how it works. Now, I don't think that we're going to have a problem filling this class, so it will pay the advertised payout. And we go through that front wheel drives stock, the team show with 40 entries. Again, that's less than 10 to fill already. And the rear wheel drive stock is already full at 40 entries. Our youth, rear wheel drive stock trucks and minivans are all based on, it's 2,500 to win based on 20 entries. So that's how we run our shows. For anyone that don't understand that, hopefully that'll clear some things up. You can watch it on derbynation.tv. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. Or better yet, you can watch it in person next year and see for yourself. Hey, Kevin. Thanks for getting on, man. I do remember you up there at the car show with all the Bugattis. Dusty's poking the bear. We are getting some look. We definitely have some big name drivers coming from across the states that are going to come out to play this year. So some of those big name drivers are coming, and we cannot wait to release that drivers list. Ken, with the $800 entry fee, we were not able to pull that off. If I can get some sponsorship or something like that, I'd love to take care of the drivers in that way. I know we did that last year. With this year, it's paying as you see. So good question. Thanks, Jed. Look, there's good and bad with every show, right? I'm sure there's plenty of people that can say bad things about Mayhem this weekend. And, I just want to, if you do say something bad, just make sure you have some evidence to back it up. So that's why I didn't comment on anything that maybe people are saying about Mayhem, because I don't have any factual evidence to back that up. So like I said, I wasn't in the headsets. I wasn't in this. I wasn't in that. I was just watching the show. I tell you what I see. And it's a 3-hour feature. And if you like that, good for you. I'm telling you that there was parts of that 3-hour feature that were insanely entertaining. And I didn't get up from my seat. We do have a lot of interest in the rear-wheel drive stock, so I don't know what we're going to do there. There's just so much interest in that class that it feels like we don't want to leave anyone out. We'll see if we can come up with a solution for those guys. And Dusty, they don't want to come running that front-wheel drive class. Man, we've seen you run. You're in the feature every year. You were down in the money, big money last year. So you got what it takes. There was some calls on the track. I know here's a comment to make sure their call was right. Look, I brought up the truck thing earlier because we stand by our calls, but if there is something that is super controversial, we brought several several people in the track or in the trailer and rewatched their finish to make sure that we got it right on the calls. And telling you, man, I don't think it's very hard to make these calls, and it didn't feel like we missed a call the whole weekend. And that was a testament to the team, man. It was a testament to the team. Brian, so here's a perfect example of this. I know Brian pretty well. And 2 years ago, he his name was on the check for third, right? I had to get the checks redone, the big checks. I had to get them redone. His name was on the check for third, but I knew him and the Allens all got tied up together. And when we rewatched the video, he lost some money because he ended up getting fifth with just how the cards fell. But it's in our best interest to get things right and not just make a subjective call. I know Brian would have liked to have that couple $1,000s, and I think he probably got that couple $1,000s out of me insurance anyways. So don't let him fool you. I think my best insurance agent in Ohio right there, but he does get me for some money. Let me make sure I got everything else covered here. Everything else we wanted to talk about. The good, the bad, the ugly. All right. Well, look, that was I'm not going to get into nothing too crazy. I don't know what you guys are wanting to get into. Um, yeah, Dusty. Dusty got taken in the trailer. Okay. Yeah, Dusty got taken in the trailer. I think you got taken in the trailer. Where did you show up after? There was two teams that were supposed to show up. I think I need to show. They've probably seen the replay by now, but um, Dusty, you came. I think your team came to watch the replay after the Derby, right? Um, and yeah, Two Door Mafia. Um, but that ended up dictating whether who got second or third. Look, we live in a in today's day and age. There's no reason you should get calls wrong. Not when you have instant replay. DerbyNation.tv does such a fantastic job of allowing us access to that. And I got to tell you, these drivers that there's been some controversial calls have been like great with us and approaching us. Like Dusty and his team and the other team that got third, there wasn't any issues at all. They literally just came up to us and was like, "Hey, I don't think that you got that call right." And look, that call is not like etched in stone. When we make it on the track, it's not etched in stone. Um, so we want to go back and get it right. And they came up to us and we're like, "Hey, we'll rewatch it." And when we rewatched it, it took us. Some of these calls are still difficult to make. I know that front wheel drive, that front wheel drive team show. I know that call. We had to watch that from like three different angles to be like, okay, yes, he moved like a tiny little bit. Dusty, you remember that? We came to watch what you said we got. Oh, okay. So that was when we were getting ready to start another heat. I thought somebody came back at the end. Um, well, anyways, it's on DerbyNation.tv, so you can rewatch that. But Dusty, I think if I remember that right, Dusty moves a little bit, and like that's all it took. It was crazy, and we had to see it from a second angle to get it right. So you can't really hide from those calls in today's world. And look, it doesn't mean you're always going to get them right either. So be easy on us and be easy on other promoters if they do mess things up. There's refs in $1 billion industry in the NFL that get it wrong every week. If you're an NFL fan, trust me, you ride the ups and downs of that. So be easy on us if we do get a call that's not perfect. We will try to get it right and make the best of it. Yeah, he said he didn't move much, but he felt the contact. Huh? At the end of the shows, that's the contact. Um, Bigger payouts for trucks. This is something that we can bring up if Brian's still on here. Brian made a post and he is beating the drum for these truck guys and trying to be an advocate for these truck guys to get bigger payouts. I think we are able to offer that if we can get the trucks to turn out. And if we can get the trucks to turn out, and what I mean by that is if we can get the entries for the trucks, we can offer a bigger payout. Everybody that has ever watched the Demolition Derby loves trucks. There's no way. And you know what's really good about it is like the average fan that shows up, the Joe Schmo that just came from the gas station because his buddy, saw a Derby car at the gas station or whatever. There is one guaranteed fact about a Derby, and that is trucks are going to entertain. These guys are crazy. They don't care. They go out there and they run hard, as we all want to see everyone else run hard, and they are awesome. So if we can get bigger payouts for trucks, um, it's in the driver's hands. It's up to the drivers to show up and commit to it. It starts with us to compete to earn that money. I mean, Brian, he went out of his way and really worked hard and we went back and forth on things that we could do for the you truck guys and make the most of it for you guys. So, I mean, he's putting his time in, and we appreciate that because, Brian's a king for us last year. He won our truck class, and the fact that he is, extending that olive branch to the rest of the truck guys to try to better the sport is huge. We get more of that, and man, this place, this Derby world can be unstoppable. So thank you very much, Brian, for everything that you do. Okay, couple things to end here. We are at 40 of the 60 entries in the King class, so we got 20 left. Remember, we're only taking 60 entries. So if you're on the fence there, get your entry in. I imagine I imagine that I imagine that last 20 will fill up pretty quick. So, and then also our front wheel drive class is at less than 10 entries. So we're taking 40 teams for that. So if you're on the fence about that, make sure you get make sure you get signed up for that. So we'll end on that. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Appreciate it. Metal Mayhem 2023 is a wrap. Congrats to Don Santel. What a performance over the weekend. If you didn't get to see the little showboating that he did, I know you don't get to see it on Derby TV, but ask around, man. It was good. Thank you for that entertainment. Thank you for Eaton's on being on the other side of the entertainment. I know you guys have flip-flopped earlier in the year, so thank you guys for just providing us entertainment. Thank you to Taylor and the whole Derby Icons crew for putting on the show. I thought it was really good, and it's just another show down, another one for the record books, and we'll keep on chucking. So thanks for everybody for tuning in.